Alright, what's up guys, it's KOSDFF here, and today I'm going to tell you guys about my first girlfriend, which is really going to be a story about my first relationship. I'm not just going to go jabber on for the next 15 minutes about her. And really, she wasn't even my first girlfriend. I dated a couple girls in Sydney, but let's face it, I was like 16, 15 years old, and our relationships largely revolved around eating lunch together and seeing each other at school. So instead, I decided to tell you guys about my first real girlfriend, my first like high school sweetheart, a girl I dated all throughout high school and even into my first year of college. And her name was Alex. She was a very small, little petite, spunky girl that I met in the 10th grade, but our little story doesn't really even start there. I actually saw this girl before I moved to Australia. We had a gym class together, and I had the world's biggest fucking crush on her. I even remember like following her after that class to find out where her locker was so that I could eventually work up the nerve to like leave her a note or do something. By the way, I'm in like 5th grade, so let's give me a break. But yeah, I was a mushy little fucker, and this is right around when we realized that we were going to be moving to Australia, so I had to like work up the nerve to finally like leave this girl a note and tell her that I liked her, a girl that I'd had a crush on for like probably a couple weeks. And I only ever ended up talking to her once before we moved because we finally got put in like the same group in this class, and all she did was make funny faces the whole time, like ridiculously funny faces trying to make us all laugh. But I never worked up the nerve to tell her I had a crush on her or even really talk to her. I never left her that note in her locker, and we moved to Australia a couple months later. Now, if I didn't mention it before or you just missed it in one of my previous videos, and when we moved back from Australia, we actually moved back into the same house that we had left from, and therefore we're in the same neighborhood and went to school with all the same people that we had known before I left to Australia. And obviously there's a 4-year gap in time there when I moved and then obviously came back, but I still had a mad crush on this girl. I do have what I would consider a very rare character trait in that although I'm a really private person and obviously I'm not anything close to a social butterfly, and if I have a group of friends I like to keep it really small, the people that I do choose to have in my life, whether as a friend or a girlfriend, they tend to imprint on me. Meaning the thought process in my mind at its core has really switched from what's better for me to what's better for them. There are certain people in this world that are just meant to make other people happy, that are a certain way not because they don't want to seem selfish or don't want to come off a certain way or just want to be portrayed as a certain person, just really at their core just care about other people not more than themselves, but just think about them first. And this isn't a totally selfless attitude or way of being. Just like everybody else, we seek to make ourselves happy, just some people do it by seeking or contributing to the well-being of others. Now that in itself isn't a terribly rare characteristic, but when you combine it with loyalty, like a dog's loyalty, it can become something that's going to serve you extremely well in life, but it also invites a lot of shit. I do believe people that have that character trait do end up happier in the long run, but it does mean they have to swallow a whole bunch of shit on the road there. Because let's face it, most people suck, and when you have an attitude of just caring about other people's, not because you want to seem cool or seem good, it's just at your subconscious core, that's just how you are. A lot of people can take advantage of that, not because they're terribly selfish, it's just they naturally think of themselves, and when you naturally think of them too, someone gets left out. Now, I've come to terms with that character trait and realized that the friends I have can't be my friends for forever, and that every girlfriend that I date, we might not end up getting married and end up happily ever after and stuff like that, but at my core, I still feel like that. Because these people I surround myself with really do imprint on me. And not in a way that we're friends for now, or I'll care about you for now, or as long as we're doing the same thing. You literally imprint on me, and it's from now on. Like, from until I die, we're gonna be boys, or from now on, I'm only gonna care about you. Now, obviously, I've explained this character trait kind of like in a friend kind of way, but this is totally amplified when I'm dating a girl. When I like a girl, I really only have eyes for her. And I don't say that to seem like a good guy. Believe it or not, it kind of sucks in certain life situations. But when I'm dating a girl, I really only think about them. You could put her in a room full of the hottest like actresses and movie stars from Hollywood, and I would still only want that girl. And not just want, we'll only pay attention to, we'll only see, we'll only notice. I'm a one gal guy in every sense of that saying. And what do I mean by that can be kind of a bad thing sometimes? Well, what if the girl you like's kind of a piece of shit? Or when you're in college and you're single and all your boys are running around banging every girl they can get, and you're just not attracted to that many girls. Like my friends in college would look at a crowd of 100 girls and be like, yep, I want to bang like 95% of them. I would look at a crowd of 100 girls and just find one, maybe two if they were both cute or I didn't know them at all. I wouldn't even consider myself picky or that I have a type or anything, because all the girls I've dated over my life, none of them look the same or have the same personality. Most of them are completely different. And the only way I could really explain it is these people just must imprint on me at a subconscious level. I just naturally live for these other people. Now, I'm not a fucking moron, so I take care care of myself, obviously. I make sure I'm happy and my life is going well. It's not like I totally devote myself like some kind of wicked follower. And why am I telling you guys all this stuff? Well, I had a crush on a girl, and 5 years later, I still had a massive fucking crush on her, and all I wanted to do was date her. And fate really stepped in here and actually made it where me and her ended up dating for a really long time, and a lot of it had to do with the circumstances surrounding us that even made it possible, because back then, obviously, this isn't like a huge city. So to go hang out with a girl, you had to get like a ride from your parents, or you had to get permission from her parents to come hang out at their house. It'd have to be this really formal thing, and you guys know when you're that young, it's really awkward. But no, I got extremely lucky. My first friend I made moving back from Sydney was a guy named Joe that I met in a geometry class. You guys might remember him from another story, and then he was really good friends with this guy named Zach. Yet another person you guys have heard of from another story. But anyways, we ended up making this little clique, and I think I met Joe on like a Friday, because I remember him having this big bag of barbecue stuff because they were going to have a barbecue after school, and I ended up going to hang out with them, not that day, but like the next day, and we pretty much hung out the whole weekend. And then we went to school Monday, and as soon as I got to school Monday, I went and met them like in front of the cafeteria, because that's where their little group met before class. And lo and behold, Alex walks right up, and to my surprise, she was actually friends with the two friends that I just made. Now low-key, I'm like, fucking hell yeah, here's my in. And right away, you could tell I had a crush on her. I told everyone about it. She actually kind of liked me too, so it was this really cutesy, like, puppy love thing. And of course, I pulled the sly move of seeing if her and her friend wanted to come hang out with me and Zach, and we went and hung out at her house for like the first time. And that was when I met her mom, an extremely attractive older lady who could cook the best food you could ever think of. So I'm just like, hey, man, future looking bright. But yeah, I think all we ended up doing was hanging out in her kitchen while her mom cooked us all food, and we just sat around chatting. Now, eventually I worked up the nerve to ask this girl out, and I asked her out to a movie, and I made every possible mistake you could think of, showed up way too early, ended up just hanging outside the theater for forever. Then we went into the movie, never made a move, and it wasn't until when we were outside waiting for one of our parents to come pick us up that I finally asked her to be my girlfriend. Now again, before you guys start roasting, please remember that I am 16 years old. She was some spunky little cute girl, and I was some emo fuck. And when she said yes, I flipped out. I was so happy. You could tell she was just hella nervous. I do believe I was her first like real boyfriend, and maybe the first guy to ask her to be his girlfriend. Either way, I flipped out, and whenever I'm really nervous and really excited, I just ramble on, which I'm sure all of you are well aware of now. And of course, I yabbered on about all the wrong stuff, about how much I liked her and how I had a crush on her for a really long time. And she's saying nothing this whole time because she's just nervous. I even told her that I fall in love really easily and then don't hurt me. It was just this really sad, mushy, just like I think about it, I just want to throw up. But despite all that, she actually liked me and we ended up dating. Now, of course, at this time, it really just means we see each other at school because she actually lived one exit up on the highway, and like I said, I was 16, didn't have a car. My parents both worked, so it wasn't like they could always just drive us around. And if they were to give us a ride either place, you know, you're sitting there hanging out at their house, their parents are supervising you and making sure you don't close the door. It's just really awkward. It was kind of lame because I really liked this girl and I really only ever got to see her at school, and we never really saw each other outside of school, save like the couple of times we could get rides or had enough money to go somewhere. And it didn't exactly make the best impression. One of the times we went out to these places was the mall where I got arrested. Yeah, she was there for all that. But yet, fate stepped in yet again, and we were all sitting there at this Burger King when all these fire engines came screaming by. And of course, Alex was the girl in the group that we all kind of picked on and all kind of like messed with because her reactions were so funny and she was so damn cute. So when the fire engines went screaming by, we told her, oh, they're going to your house is burning down, ha ha ha. And she's like, don't say that, blah blah blah, that's bad, you shouldn't, you know, make fun of that. Because she was that kind of girl, little goody goody two shoes type. But nope, those fire engines were really heading to her house and her shit burnt down that very night. Literally 3 minutes later, she got a call from her friend Beth, who was at a church lock-in across the street, and literally called her and said, hey, your fucking house is on fire. We all thought it was a joke when she turned around and told us, but we're like, what, are you fucking serious? And she instantly burst out into tears. And I think Beth came to get us. I'm not actually sure who came to get us, but we went straight to her house and that shit was on fucking wicked fire. And yeah, her fucking house burned down. Now, why does her house burning down equal fate to me and be obviously something that I'm portraying in a positive light, even though it's fucking terrible that her house burnt down? But when her house burned down, obviously they were homeless, and her mom's boyfriend, to make it all better, decided to instantly go out and rent them a house to live in. And well, the house he rented for them to live in while they rebuilt their burned down house was in my neighborhood and like a couple streets over. So now I got to see her all the time. Every morning I would walk to her house and catch the bus with her. We'd ride the bus home after school and hang out like every single afternoon for literally all of high school. It was fucking awesome. And moreover, her best friend Megan lived on the exact same street, was kind of the reason why they moved there. And we instantly had this little group of friends to hang out with too. So this overall ended up really fucking awesome for us because we got to see each other all the time, and she was literally a 1-minute bike ride versus a 10-minute car ride. And we ended up dating for most of high school. Now, of course, it was a normal high school relationship, so we broke up a few times. One time, I think we even broke up for like 3 or 4 months. But we had some amazing times in there and some shitty times as well, but we had some cool stuff that happened. We went to Hawaii once, which was a lot of fun, even though we ended up breaking up like at the very end of the trip. She did cheat on me once with that Zach guy, my best friend, which really sucks. Her and her friend Megan went over to Joe's house and they all started drinking and they played like spin the bottle or whatever. And the only reason why that isn't the most tragic story ever, because I was obviously head over heels infatuated with this girl. As soon as it happened, she felt absolutely terrible and called me and made me come over to her house and spent the whole night in tears bawling because she loved me so much and was hoping I wouldn't dump her and just basically begged me to forgive her. And obviously I was totally in love with this girl and infatuated, so it was so amazing to hear that she liked me so much, and I instantly took her back. We didn't break up at all. Now, my friendship with Zach kind of ended, but the girl I was in love with was falling in love with me, and that was fucking awesome, so much so that I really didn't even care. Now, it fucking hurt. I'm not gonna say it didn't, but again, you know, you're 17, 16. I mean, really, what's the depth of your perception at that point? And to be honest, I was just really excited that she was falling for me too. And it kind of went on like that for a while. Although we broke up once, we ended up getting back together, so we spent most of high school together. But yet again, fate stepped in and put a really big wedge in our relationship as I went off to college and she stayed home. I ended up getting into a school called UNC Greensboro and ended up attending. It was about an hour and a half away from where we lived. And she went to a community college for like a year while she saved up for college. Eventually she transferred to UNC Charlotte. But during this time, she would either drive to see me every weekend or I would drive home to see her every weekend. And eventually it just proved too much for both of us. Although it was amazing every time I saw her on the weekends, we would fight the whole time in between the week for the most part. Or just not talk that much at all because our lives had grown so different. Because during this time, she eventually went to UNC Charlotte, so she moved into the dorms, made all these new friends, and I was in UNC Greensboro making friends as well. And our lives just became totally separated, save the times we spent with each other on the weekend. But this more and more ended up me just going back to Charlotte almost every weekend, and I really grew disconnected from my college and eventually ended up doing really poorly. After my first year in Greensboro, I moved back home and went to community college for a year and totally grinded my ass off so that I could get back into a state school. Yes, although you guys know I went really far in higher education, I definitely made mistakes early on. And although I got to move home and therefore be closer to her, she went to college like a good 20 minutes away from where we were, and obviously she had her whole college life, so we largely lived separate lives again and broke up like 2 weeks after I moved home. And it was all my fault. I was a fucking idiot. I was like hanging out with my friends too much and not showing her enough attention. We were fighting all the time and just generally making each other miserable, so we eventually broke up and it was heartbreaking. But both of us realized that we should probably move on and, you know, concentrate on our own lives because we were both in a really pivotal point in our lives. But obviously I was still in love with her, as I say, like people imprint on me, meaning I'm theirs until they don't want me anymore. And although we had broken up, I knew she still loved me too. So for the next year, I really just buried myself in school, which is something I even do to this day. If I'm going through any kind of shit at all, I just bury myself in work, whatever it is. And I did so well at that community college and ended up getting into the school I originally wanted to go to, which was UNC Charlotte, which also happened to be the school Alex went to. Now, of course, within like a couple months of being back at that school, we kind of like reconnected. She had been at the school for 2 years now, so she kind of knew the ropes, and obviously we didn't connect like right away, but eventually we did. We ended up meeting up at a party and instantly everything just came flooding back. We were drinking, so stuff ended up getting sloppy, emotions started coming out, and she was a super emotional drunk. She was that girl that if she got too drunk, she'd just start crying and talking about anything. And of course, that's exactly what ended up happening. She got really drunk and so did I, and she started proclaiming that I was like her best friend and her closest thing that she's ever had, and she really missed me and all this other really emotional stuff. We ended up spending that night together and somewhat rekindled, but obviously we have had such a traumatic and long history that neither one of us really rushed back into the relationship. Now, of course, me, I wanted to be back together with her like right away, but I couldn't let her know that or I would look like this fucking totally desperate nerd, which I totally was. And she obviously was really guarded because we didn't exactly end well, but we ended up spending more and more time together, kind of just talking, not dating or anything like that, which was somewhat heartbreaking because I obviously was still very much in love with this girl and obviously I wanted to rekindle everything, but I could tell she wasn't trying to rush back into it, so I played it cool. But of course, just like every other high school sweetheart story, it ended up in somewhat tragedy. While we were talking, I found out that she actually hooked up with some other guy. Her friend Megan, who had since moved to Ireland, had come back into town and obviously wanted to see the American college experience. And although I had a group of friends and we all liked to drink and do the whole college thing, this other guy that she had been best friends with this whole time, yeah, eventually I got dissed for the fucking best friend. He was this big frat guy and we had all these huge frat parties parties and was just, I guess, bigger into the college scene. And I guess that's how Alex wanted to show Megan this college experience. They all went out together one night, and I later found out that she spent the night with him. And this absolutely fucking broke my heart and set me on this kind of like emo, weird, awkward path for the next 3 years. And it's also one of the main reasons if I could change anything about myself, I would probably change that whole imprinting thing. I love the fact that I care so much about people and obviously seek to surround myself with people and seek their well-being and stuff like that, but I would love to take away the forever part. And although that does sound like an extremely cynical attitude, and obviously you should never really want to change anything about yourself, it doesn't matter that I do anyway. I am who I am, and there's literally nothing that'll ever change that. I've been this way since I was a little kid, and I don't see that ever changing. And you guys can see evidence of that just here at TK. Obviously, it doesn't just extend to girlfriends. My friends are the same way, man. We're gonna be boys for forever, man. And that's why I stick by my day ones. Because I don't make friends with people just to be friends for a couple years or while we're doing stuff. No, I really honestly at my core believe that we're gonna be boys for forever, and this is a fucking blood in, blood out thing. But anyways, although that story ended up kind of shitty, I am actually really thankful for my high school girlfriend experience. We had an amazing relationship for like 3 years. All we ever did was hang out and watch TV and play video games. We spent so much time together that I really feel like I grew up with her. Like, I'm talking like every single day for years, we just hung out with each other. I would see my friends, of course, but like the default thing I would do every day was hang out with her. I'm even thankful for the time we spent together in college, even though it ended up being pretty shit, and in large part was an emotional train wreck for me the whole time. It was still really awesome getting to experience certain things with my high school sweetheart that I'd known since I was a fucking kid. I literally met this girl when she was 15 years old, and we got to party and go get drunk in college 5 years later. And I'm really hoping that she never sees this video. And if you're wondering whatever happened to her, it's not like I never saw her again. I actually ended up seeing her again. We had 2 classes together closer to my senior year. We never saw each other outside of class, and all we did was bicker in class. I don't know why, but I guess fate is just as mean. We always ended up in the same groups because her last name starts with E and my last name is Chandler, so it starts with C. And it was a cruel joke sticking us in the same group, not for us, but the other group members, because we very much bickered like exes the entire time. But she ended up graduating and went and got a job at a bank. As you guys know, after school, I moved to Oklahoma to do more school, and then after that, kind of just jumped around the country until I eventually landed here in New York, and we've largely lost touch since then. I think I've talked to her like 3 or 4 times since. And just in passing, hi, how are you? Glad to see you're doing well type stuff. And I'll end this video with 2 little quirky facts. One thing that's annoying about dating one girl like for a really long time in high school is that's the only girl your grandparents fucking remember, and still to this day, my grandfather asks me how Alex is. When are you gonna talk to Alex again? What is Alex doing? All this stuff. And I'm like, I haven't talked to her in literally like 8 years. Like, come on, man, move on. And quirky fact number 2, obviously I still follow her on Facebook and stuff like that, and every now and then go creep on her shit just to see how she's doing. Recently, she quit her job and actually spent a few months just bouncing around Asia and Europe, just traveling, being fucking nuts, like on a soul mission. I always knew that chick was crazy, and there's some fucking evidence right there. But I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my first like high school girlfriend experience. We all have them, and I'm sure yours is just as tragic as mine. And although those people are probably strangers to you guys right now, like I am with this girl, obviously I don't know her anymore, and maybe they cheated on you and totally broke your heart and put you in some emotional bullshit, you really can't blame them, because we are all growing up, and it's a traumatic time for fucking everybody. And you will forever be connected in that sense. You were that guy or girl to that person, and you'll probably always remember each other even though it ended up in shit. But you know what they say, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, which is total fucking horseshit. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed the vid. See you guys tomorrow.